Hi guys, I'm Urmila Prabhu, an international storyteller and story coach. Welcome back to my channel. Today I had a lovely, interesting Insta Live session with an illustrator putting together, Kosha Bathia. Keep watching. Happy sunshine, dear friends. I'm very happy today, or I can say I am doubly happy today to be with you, my dear viewers, and also to be with Kosha in her beautiful artistic office. I'm just loving every inch of her beautiful office. Welcome, Kosha.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Dear friends, I know Kosha for many years, from a beautiful young girl to a very pleasant, elegant young lady. Kosha, let me tell you, she's just the same. She hasn't aged a single day, except that she's going more beautiful and having more charming smile.
That's too sweet, Auntie.
I'm not flattering at all. You do know that very well. And also, we have a special bond because both of us have a same spiritual master and we get a lot of energy from them. Maybe because of that too. I don't know. Kusha, you're always, at least I knew that you always had an artistic bent right from the childhood. Is it true? Like how it is? How true?
Yeah. So, it is in a way like I always used to draw, paint. I loved spending time on my own. And I used to copy cartoons from here and there and draw them and paint them. And now when I look back at my old work, and I don't think I have too much of it saved up or whatever little I have, I think it was not bad. But I never thought I never thought of art as a career. I never thought I was any good. I just thought all kids draw and paint and it's just normal, but I enjoyed doing that.
I remember maybe many years ago you had given a small Zentangle to my daughter.
Yeah. I remember.
I know she has preserved it and she has put it in a frame in her house.
That's so sweet.
When after marriage she was she was locating to London. So I said, Anna, are you going to take this? I thought she will leave it in her room and that will be mine. I said, I'm not taking it. What do you mean?
That's so sweet.
So I feel the loss of looking at it every day. Otherwise, I used to look at it every day in the room.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'll make one for you next.
See, Sunday bumper laundry for me. Yeah. Koshu, you dabble in arts in so many fields or so many mediums as it's called. But you call yourself as a visual storyteller. Being a storyteller, I always wonder why people call them as a visual storyteller.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us what does that mean?
Sure. So basically, like you already know storytelling, right? You know the context of it. You know how the storytelling goes.
Yeah.
And as an illustrator, graphic designer, we tell stories through visuals. So the text that we have, or the story, or the narrative, or the context that is there, like what you want to tell people. So we depict it visually. So in one visual, you see the character. You probably see the whole scene midway between the story. So you know something's happening. It's like a moment frozen in time of the story, which can give you little details, which, if you really look carefully, it can give you little details of the characters, or maybe the clothes they're wearing, or maybe, just little bits of things that are depicted in an illustration or design. And that is visual storytelling. So you not only do you hear the story, but you actually see it visually in front of you. And so professionally, that's what we do as visual storytellers. Whether it's for a brand, whether it's illustrating a children's book, whether it's anything at all, we figure out what the narrative is. What are you trying to communicate to your readers, to your audience? And then we try to depict it visually.
Wow. So now, what's the difference between a visual storyteller, graphic designer, graphic recorder, and an illustrator?
So yeah, there are many different hats that I wear. So an illustrator is one who actually illustrates, maybe makes a drawing or a painting or visually depicts the story. So that's the job of an illustrator. A graphic designer is one who works with maybe clients, ad agencies, and works in design. So it need not be an illustration. It might not be characters and scenes and images.
Okay.
It could be icons, it could be logos, it could be the way a flyer, brochure is created to pass on the message and communicate it effectively. And a graphic recorder is something like a newfound love of mine, because ever since I was a kid, I loved taking notes and I love illustration, and I kind of merged those two loves of mine together. So when there are business conferences, meetings, there are podcasts, interviews, I sit and I capture the discussions visually, so that for people, when they look at that visual capturing of a discussion, meeting, conference, anything, it's easier to just see just the important points highlighted and the recall value or understanding how different concepts kind of come together. That's the clarity that you get from a graphic recording. So those are three things that I do, and which are kind of linked to each other, but quite different as well.
Yeah, for me it was more of overlapping, but
Yeah.
you're the expert, so you know how what are the fine line of the distinction between all three or four. Yeah. So dear friends, just a little peek that she has illustrated this book, bringing up a Vedantic mother, and I just love the way she has illustrated it. She has brought out the essence of the story that I have written. So by the way, this is a book written by me, but illustrated, as now I know very well what she did. I only knew she drew it, but now she has illustrated my book beautifully. You can just go and get it, and you can read the stories and enjoy her illustration.
And the stories are so adorable.
Thank
I
you.
absolutely enjoyed reading all of them, little snippets from your life. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Kosha. Kosha, am I right? You started your journey as an employee on a regular job?
Yeah, so I didn't start it like that.
Yeah.
I always started as a freelancer, but in between I got the opportunity to work in a corporate organization in the communications department. And I did not really want the job, but the opportunity was really good, and I thought it would help me gain some experience in a different field. And so I took up that job, and I was there for over 2 years. It was a beautiful experience. I met some lovely people. I've made friends for life over there. And I got to learn so much about communication, about what all it entails. And I've quit my job in 2019, and I'm still in touch with my ex-boss. We just had lunch the other day. So it's just lovely how you meet new people, you learn things from them, and then you create a bond that lasts.
I can tell you, dear friends, it's very difficult to forget Kosha. So I'm not at all surprised or shocked that you had a lunch with your boss and you're friends with your team.
Yeah.
Super. Many are independent, I know, I think it's a challenge in itself to be an independent or solopreneur. Am I right? Are you a solopreneur?
Sort of, yes.
Yeah. So, do you feel insecure now or always? And was the shift smooth, from having a stable everyday job and now becoming totally independent?
Yeah, it was not easy because for over 2 years, 2.5 years, you're used to a stable income. You're used to getting that amount in your account every month, but also the fact that you are given one job. Your job is to do communications. I was in the communications department, so that was my job. That was my only job. And it was fine. I don't have to look after one department. But when I became a freelancer again, and it's like being your own boss, running your own business. So now not only do I have to handle the creative side of it, I have to handle the business side of it. So there are times when a lot of my time goes into admin work, following up with clients, business development, getting new clients, updating my portfolio, being creative, thinking of new ideas. Like if, for example, I've started products recently, so I created this calendar for 2024. And when I do that and I put it up, I have to figure out how to run my own online store. If I get orders, I have to pack it, ship it. Like everything is just one person doing everything. And so definitely way more challenging to run your entire business, but it also gives me a lot of pleasure. I loved my job, but I feel like there was way more creativity in me that I needed to unleash, which I couldn't do in a job because as a freelancer, I take on different kinds of projects, work with various clients. So I'm still working with corporates. I have a couple of retainers. I do regular work for corporates. So I'm still into communication, graphic design. Then I work for, I like with people like you, and I get to create lovely stories. I mean, I make illustrations out of stories. I'm working with a bakery, and I'm working on her branding for a bakery. So various projects. I work with lawyers to create logo design, so much stuff. And that variety is what keeps it exciting for me.
Wow, dear friends, let me tell you, I'm working on my third book, and you know who is the illustrator of the third book.
And it sounds fun, so I can't wait for it to come out.
And that has far more illustrations and graphic design. Can I say?
Yeah.
Now I'm using the term.
But you used it right.
So yeah, I'm also very excited. I'm shaping my stories and all. Or I can say I'm tweaking a bit of it based on a beautiful illustrations and creative designs. So yeah, creative designs. Yeah, I used it right. So thank you.
Thank you.
See, it sounds very romantic. I'm working and loving it and getting. But being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, wearing so many hats at one time, retaining your creativity, your freshness, you you encounter so many hiccups, bumps, and all. So, can you tell us, how do you overcome these bumps, hiccups, and so on?
Absolutely. So that happens. Sometimes it depends on the kind of clients you're working with. Sometimes they're not cooperative. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned. Or sometimes you do run out of creativity. Like you said, it's just difficult to keep it up because you have so much to deal with, and sometimes I'm so bogged down by the business side of it, and then I'm like, I just don't have that
creativity, that freshness,
And so I just take a break. And what I have heard so many other artists going through the same thing recommend is do something completely different from your field. So I love interiors and space design, and I don't do it, but I love looking at beautiful spaces. So I follow a lot of pages which have to do with typography or interiors or even cooking or pottery. Like just looking at it, exposing myself to different sorts of creativity, something that I don't necessarily do. And on something as simple as taking time off to meditate, go for a walk, read a book, which I used to love to do, but since social media it's gone way down. And even just binge watching my favorite shows because I love stories. I always have. And what better than an audio visual story to kind of get lost in? So these are some of the things that I do to just tune off, take some time off to just, refresh myself and then come back. Like I was very burnt out November, December. I'm back to work now, but I was still working. but I didn't feel like I had any creativity left in me. I was just doing what I had to do. So I took some time to recharge myself, and I'm much better now, in a better space. But it happens. It happens to the best of us, and it's okay. You know, you just have to accept that it happens, deal with it, and move on.
Yeah. So I was coming to that, everything is in mind, it's like, as we said, mental thinking, mental blocks, uh, uh, and being wearing all the hats on one hand also makes you, it saps your energy. So there are two questions coming one after the other. One is how you maintain that energy, mental and physical energy. And second is, do you feel insecure?
Oh, I used to. Sometimes I still do, but I've gotten over that because when I was new into this career and I would see everybody else and I would be like, oh, they are so good at what they do. When will I be that good? Or there are so many things that I want to do and I see someone already accomplishing them and then I feel insecure. When will I do it? Or so many thoughts. So yeah, absolutely, insecurities are part of it. But now over 12 years of doing this, I've learned a few tricks to tell myself that it's okay. And the thing is, I have tons of ideas myself. Sometimes the ideas just come. It's just that I don't have time to execute them. There are so many things I want to do, and I don't know how I'm gonna accomplish all of them. And maybe I won't accomplish all of them, which is okay. But yeah, insecurity does come, especially because of social media. When you see people doing what you want to do, and you feel like, when will I do it? But it's not about comparing yourself to other people, and that's what you need to remind yourself, that I don't have to do what that person's doing exactly. But yeah, if I want to improve or go into that direction, what is the first step I can take towards accomplishing some of the things that others are doing? For example, a product line. If I want to create products, if I want to create my own e-commerce online store, what's the first step I can take? I see so many people doing it, and I've always loved creating products. But maybe I don't have the bandwidth or the hands, or maybe it's just a scary thing because there's so much stuff involved. So then I need to stop and ask myself, what's one step I can take in that direction? Yeah. Make a plan, break it down. So I've learned a couple of productivity hacks over time. And yeah, so it's made life easier for me a little bit.
And I had read a book by Brian Tracy, which says, how to eat an elephant. They had have one bite at a time.
I heard that. And that's so smart, right? When you look at the whole big picture, it's like you get overwhelmed. And I get overwhelmed a lot looking at my own to-do list, which is just me giving myself more work. But yeah, like you said, one bite at a time. So we have to break it down. We have to see what is doable, what you might never accomplish, and it's okay. Yeah, it's about prioritizing and breaking it down.
Yeah, so true, so true. That is one. And also, do you feel insecure in the other segment as to, will the work keep on pouring? Will I get the next assignment before this assignment comes to an end? Do you get this kind
Sometimes I do. So since the last couple of years, I now have retainer plans, so I know some amount will always come. But there are times when work is slow because that's how freelancing goes. We have like peaks and falls. So during peak season, you can say, there is tons of work, more than you can handle. And then there are lows where, there isn't as much work and you have way more free time. But I feel like instead of freaking out about the free time, I should use it to update my portfolio, things that I just put off forever, or create passion projects. And that's so important as a creative person, to give yourself a brief and create projects that you would want to do even in the future. Because if I create a passion project and I put it up on my portfolio and potential clients see it, they'll hire me to do more of that kind of work, which I also love and enjoy. So in a way, I'm still building up my strength in the kind of way I want to, like practicing what I love and putting it out there as a potential, like for a potential client to hire me for that kind of work.
Oh.
So I use that for passion projects, downtime, and it's good to balance both actually.
Oh, I love these small little mantras you are sharing with our viewers.
I've learned so much over time. Like it's just been a journey of constant learning. Because when I started freelancing fresh out of college, I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to make an invoice because they didn't teach us all that.
Yeah.
And so over time, you pick up so many bits and pieces of advice and information, and you practice and from your own experience, like you gather so much knowledge about what to do, what not to do. It's like learnings for your future self. So yeah, absolutely.
Good. Absolutely. So now that we have handled so many clients independently, do you have an unpleasant?
We all do. Yeah, a couple of them. I think everybody has unpleasant clients. I mean, there are so many varieties of unpleasant clients, honestly. So there are kinds of people who just don't know what they want. And so it's so important for us to make sure that in our estimates, we write how many rounds of revision they get. Because they're so unplanned, they have no idea what they want. And you can't keep doing unlimited revisions and work and putting in unlimited time and effort. So those are the clueless ones. Then there are the ones who are not happy with anything. I mean, I had one client. Thankfully, it was a super tiny project and I'm glad it didn't work out because he was so lost. He didn't know exactly what he wanted. He had already worked with 2-3 other designers and illustrators before. He was not happy with any of their work. And there was just this tiny illustration that I had done. And it was actually not bad at all because everyone else loved it. But he was like, oh, I'm not happy and I want my money back. Oh. And I was like, oh, that's not going to happen because what about the time and effort that I did put into it? So even as an illustrator, designer, entrepreneur, we have to draw a boundary about, you can't just go around pleasing clients endlessly. You have to draw a line. If I have put in time and effort, I need to be paid for it. Recently, I had an inquiry where somebody wanted a logo design. And then she said, what if I don't like the logo after you've designed it? Do I still have to pay you? And I was like, yeah, you have to pay me for the time and effort I've put into creating it according to your brief. Yeah. And the way I work is I include the clients at every step. So if I do rough concept sketches, I need approvals to go ahead. If I do a drawing, I need approvals to go ahead before finally coloring it. So I involve the client in every step so that I know that they are in alignment with the way things are going. I'm not going to just suddenly, just present you with a completed logo and be like, here's your logo. That's not how I work. So yeah, I mean, there are many difficult clients. I mean, so many. I mean, there are people who don't pay. Like once I didn't get paid for a year, I had given up, honestly. It wasn't a big amount. It was in the beginning when I just started freelancing. I kept following up for the payments. It didn't happen. I gave up on it. And after a year, I got paid. And I was like, okay, that happens too. So you learn bits and pieces over time with experience. And then you know what you need to do to avoid repeating those experiences. For example, take an advance always. I mean, at least with new people who you don't know, take an advance always, like learning. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, after unpleasant, let's go shift, from one angle to another. Some nice, pleasant, happy experiences that you had.
Yeah, many. So, I mean, I'm lucky to have been working recently with lovely, lovely clients. People who you're on the same wavelength with. There was a client, a consulting firm that I did the entire branding for. And we were so in sync, like we did a lot of work in figuring out what exactly we wanted, the research behind how we wanted to create the brand. And then when we went around to branding, they just loved everything and everything fell into place and we were so in sync. And even as people, they're so respectful, loving. It's just a pleasure working with some people, really. And then one of my corporate clients, I worked on their marketing deck, which they applied for an award, and then they won the award.
Oh, wow.
And he was so sweet to send me like a box of brownies as a thank you.
Wow.
So even the tiny acknowledgement, you know, that we appreciate the work you do, sort of thing. Yeah, lovely clients. Like, it was a pleasure working on the book with you because we were so in sync and the stories were lovely, and it's always lovely to have a chat with you and catch up with you. So tons of lovely clients too. So there's there's a bit of both, and you need to acknowledge what's, good and try and get more of those kind of experiences. So.
Dear viewers, let me tell you, she has won many, many awards. But I see on the table a couple of very prestigious ones. I don't know what is does this
CAG,
mean.
I think.
CAG, yeah.
Communication Arts Guild.
Yeah, so it is.
Yeah.
This is one. CAG, Cup Illustrator of the Year.
Oh, when I was still in college. Not a cup anymore, but yeah.
And I see second one. Is that? Yeah.
It's the Wiz Impact. That was also in
Wiz
college.
Impact, yeah. Both of them look so cute on the table. So, can you share a couple of pictures or from your illustrations?
Sure. So I have done, let me see.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just turn the page.
I can just.
So these are some of my doodles, which unfortunately I don't have time to do so many of anymore. But I love doodling. So I love not planning it, just sitting with a pen and paper and allowing my subconscious to take over. So I just let whatever needs to come out in the form of doodles, whether it's just images, whether there's tiny little words hidden inside. So tons of stuff. Yeah, these are some of them.
So I remember when I was a student and when I would doodle, my parents and my teacher would get angry. And that's so vertical in itself.
It is.
I don't know how time has changed.
It has. So, I mean, I used to do that at the back of my notebooks too, and I'm sure everybody has. It's just that we didn't know it was called doodle and that it was an art form and that it can be so intricate.
Yeah, my dad would say, this girl is doing typing. Instead of studying, she's doing something.
Yeah, I love you. I've all done it though.
So that's one. So I had attended one of the workshops. Do you remember that once upon a time?
Which one?
I had attended one of the workshops and when we were discussing about this book and you were telling me, Auntie, you can do it this way. I would see you doing it so smoothly and nicely, and I love drawing, I love sketching, I love painting. And I said, can I really learn that? She says, yes, Auntie, I'm going to organize a workshop. And I was after her, Kosha, when are you going to organize that workshop? That was many years ago. So you said, I will. So I did attend a workshop. I learned a lot, but what I would like you sharing a little bit about next work, a vertical which organizes art workshops.
Yeah, so right now most of the art workshops that I'm doing are for corporates. So corporate organizations conduct these creative workshops as part of the employee mental well-being programs. And so we do things like mindfulness with mandalas or doodle and de-stress, fluid art. There are some for employees' children. So we do some kids workshops, some coffee painting, so many. So I do a lot for the corporates, which are not open to all. It's just for their organization and their employees. So that's a special invite, which for them. But I have done a couple of doodle workshops and things which are open for all. It's not accessible anymore because I think the platform changed. But I plan to do. I've got a lot of requests.
Yeah.
It's just that the bandwidth to do so many things, it's challenging to keep up with everything. But I am planning to, do one soon. Like I'll conduct one soon, and I'll keep it open for all, so everyone can join in.
Yeah.
So definitely something to look forward to in 2024.
Wow. So I think if the timing matches, I'll join your workshop.
Yeah, that would be nice to have you again.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me also brush up with what I learned.
Sure. Really lovely.
Yeah. So, so for a person who really has very little, the skill, I can say, to doodle, very little knowledge about how to put things together and all. Do you have a quick tip on a couple of those?
Yeah, so usually when I do any of the workshops, it is always for beginners because I feel like everyone can draw. I honestly believe that because I didn't think I would have a career in art, and it just happened at the right time, honestly. But everyone can draw because drawing is a skill like any other that you learn over time. It's just that the love that you have for drawing and painting or any creative field is inbuilt, but the skill is something that anyone can learn. And so I truly believe everyone can draw. All you need to do is pick up a pencil and start from the scratch. It like when a lot of times when I conduct these workshops and people see these mandalas or these doodles which are already done, and they're like, how are we gonna draw that? But the steps to reach that end result are actually very simple. It's just putting one block over the other. And I feel like there are many tutorials out there. YouTube has made so much knowledge accessible to us. Go online. I mean, I have a YouTube channel too, but I don't really have so many tutorials. And I'm not just saying go to my channel, you can definitely check it out, but go to any YouTube channel where people teach you art from scratch for beginners, and you'll learn so much, and it's very step by step. Honestly, if you can hold a pencil, you can draw. So, I mean, the tips depend on what kind of art you're doing, but just take a pencil and a paper and start with basic shapes. So one thing I would like to share is any pattern, any design, any drawing starts with basic shapes, dots and lines. So if you can draw like a square, a circle, a triangle, dots and lines, you can draw anything because a combination of those is what results into everything else. So yeah, it's actually simple.
Wow, Kosha, wonderful. So on this note, we can say bye to our friends. But before that, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. First is, what is one thing that you like to do besides drawing and mandala and all what you're shared now? One thing that you're passionate about.
I do love reading.
Okay. So, can you just name two of your favorite books?
Okay, so many. So right now I'm just reading non-fiction, but Harry Potter is my all-time favorite because it just took us to a world, a different world, and it was exactly at the time I was growing up and was Harry's age, so I could relate. Another one, well, the book I just finished reading recently was Winning the Week, which is a non-fiction book, but it's about productivity and how to plan. And since I'm into that these days, that would be another one.
Okay. A place that you would like to visit and revisit?
Mount Abu, because it's the headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris, and I love meditating. It's just a beautiful vibe that you get out of that place. And yeah, that's a place I would visit over and over again because I have.
Somehow I knew you would say that when you
Just again and again. I can't imagine wanting to visit any other place as often as I do that place, honestly.
Okay. The cuisine that you love to eat?
Italian and Mexican.
Okay. Any like to prepare?
Like to prepare sandwiches. I'm actually good at preparing sandwiches.
Oh, wow. Okay. And one thing, I would like to ask is, I don't know, I was just came, do you have any favorite color?
Uh, no. I used to like blue a lot. Now I like all colors. But I used to like a dull color palette earlier. Now I'm more into bright colors. So I think it changes with time.
Okay. So thank you. Thanks a lot, Kosha, for being on this podcast and sharing your journey and also giving how to center yourself when you're low and to be grounded when you're high and enjoy the free flowing rapid fire questions.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Dear friends, do let us know what you learned from this, what you enjoyed, the segment that you enjoyed the most, or any thoughts that you would like to share with Kosha and me. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to hit on the like button and subscribe to my channel.